Bam!
Jayson Waller here, True Underdog Podcast, Apple's top 3 entrepreneur podcast. I've got a bad dude here today. This guy is an entrepreneur. He's a boss. He flew here from Florida to come hang out with me. Tommy Rodriguez, how you doing, baby?
I'm good. How you doing,
Hey,
brother?
also known as T-Rod on Instagram,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Dude, I love your shit on Instagram, dude. Your content's fantastic. You're out there balling. You're out there taking care of your employees, building a business. You're grinded, man. You're my kind of people. That's what I'd love to see. I love to see success from people who grind and are the underdog and overcome that stuff. So that's why we've got you on the show. These listeners need to listen up because you've built a business on Amazon automation that can change people's lives. So listeners out there, grinders, salespeople, people, business owners out there want to have passive income. You're going to want to hear this episode. Tommy's going to tell you and enlighten you with what can change, what things you can do in your life to really better yourself and be a part of something great. But before we get started there, I want to talk a little bit about you opening your business. I want to talk about the struggles that you had as a kid to really push you to want to be an entrepreneur. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I just turned 34. From the ages of 14 to about 17 years old, my mother kicked me out of the house because I was getting she actually kicked me out at 17, but from 14 to 17, I was getting into fights. I broke into a few houses to, just steal shit because I guess looking for money or whatever it is I was looking for back in the day, right? I was just young and dumb, right? Yeah. And she kicked me out at 17 years old and basically said, "You're gonna have to learn how to grow up and be a man." And of course, back then I didn't know really how to take that in because my mother, she cares for me, and you brought me into this earth. Now you're telling me we live in Boston, it's freezing outside, and you're telling me that I have to go somewhere and I have no money, I have no job, I have no income, and I don't know how you want me to defend for myself, right?
Right.
Long story short, basically what I did to survive was I basically snuck into people's basements, doors were unlocked, tried to stay warm. I would walk around in the middle of the night or wait till 4 or 5 a.m. till when things started to slowly open to just go inside just to catch, some shelter.
Right.
Even slept in some homeless shelters a few times, again, just to try to stay warm. And it was scary because it was the uncertainty, which is obviously part of the whole world that we live in today, but I didn't know how I was going to survive. I didn't know what I was going to eat. I didn't really know. So it was really scary for me. So it wasn't until I met my ex-wife, who I still do give credit to, that took me in. We actually met on MySpace back in the day, and she took me in, tried to help me out. I got, tried to get myself on my, 2 feet. Yeah. I went out and got some jobs. I had everything from fast food to warehouse to roofing to you name it. I had more jobs than birthdays.
Yeah.
And but I still really didn't have my calling. So around 23 and a half, 24 years old, to put it lightly, I ended up finding out I was having a daughter, with my ex-wife. And that was about 3 or 4 months, give or take, where she was about to be due. And I just lost both of my jobs. I had one job for 2 months, another job for 3 months. And it was devastating because it was like, I can't defend for my ex-wife. I can't defend for this newborn that I have coming into this world. I have no idea what I'm going to do. So that was really an emotional time for me. Like, I can remember, like, there was a lot of times where I just broke down just crying.
Did you have a mentor or anybody to lean to?
No. This was before I even got into any kind of entrepreneurship or anything like that. Everyone I knew had a job. And these people would just be like, "Oh, you'll do fine. You'll find another job. You'll do this." The typical stuff that people would say to try to obviously help you, keep your levels up high.
Were you scared?
Scared and nervous. Yeah. It was uncertainty, and it sucked. I just wanted to know that everything would be okay. I wanted to know that, like, I could put food on the table for my kid, my ex-wife and everything like that. So it wasn't until about 24 years old, March 4, 2012. I remember that day like it's the back of my hand, man, that I saw some ads about make money from home, $100, $200 a day. I was super skeptical. I was like, sounds like a scam or some pyramid. And of course I was arrogant. I didn't look into it, and I just automatically started assuming this. That's what a lot of people do nowadays. They just see something and they just assume what it is without doing their due diligence. But luckily for me, I was like, you know what, my skepticism, but curiosity I also want to know. I want to know what this is. So I looked into it. And it was basically driving traffic to Fortune 500 companies like Credit Karma, Netflix, basically CPA marketing. They paid you to advertise on behalf of these, big companies instead of paying to advertise on TV because they knew a lot of people didn't advertise on TV as much anymore because everyone's on the internet.
Right.
So I looked into that. I got started. I connected with the person that I guess they had their own like affiliate link. They got like a kickback.
Affiliate marketing was big back then.
It was huge.
I mean, it's still kind of big now, but I mean, it was booming back then.
Huge.
I was skeptical about it. I was like, dude, I had a buddy of mine that was like balling. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I'm an affiliate. He sits in his underwear and has people work for him, pushing ads to people. I'm like, what?
It worked. Bro, there was so many companies doing a lot of the similar stuff back then. And I looked into it. So I signed up, and he's like, I'm like, all right, what do I have to do now? He's like, you have to learn how to drive traffic. You create your own website, you go in the back office, create the website, and you've got to drive traffic. I'm like, how do I do that? He's like, you got to figure it out. I was like, oh, well, thanks. I know you just made like $100, so now I'll figure it out. But so literally what I did from there, because my hustle and determination to make this thing work, to try to put food on the table, I literally went to Google. How to drive traffic, how to generate leads, how to do this, YouTube. And I literally, for the next 4 to 6 months, spent, if not longer, 18 to 20 hours a day on the computer trying to figure out how to make this thing work. And I would reach out through email, customer service for companies that basically would do email blasts, ads, everything. I even went on Craigslist. And people that back then, they had sections for people looking for jobs. I actually reversed it on the people that were looking for jobs. I actually called people that were applying for jobs on Craigslist. And I actually got people to look at what I did and signed up through considerably reverse marketing. And it actually worked. So I did that
So you called them to work for you.
To sign up, to
to give them a rip on what they provide for you, so you're giving them a job.
Technically speaking, yes.
Pretty slick,
like
man.
an
That's pretty
opportunity.
slick. Yeah.
And it was like, that's where my first couple of leads came from. Like when I made $80 in one day, and it was like 6 days later, 6 days of trying to figure out how to do this thing. And it was stressful. I was like, damn, this sucks. I don't know how to do this. So there was a company that came out, or there was that basically taught people how to generate leads. I got involved in that company. I bought all their services. I maxed out my credit cards to buy all their products and service to figure out how to do, generate leads, because it was like, all right, that will help me with this company. Little did I know that company taught me how to do all that, but then I focused on my company on this multi-level marketing company because I was like, I like what they have to offer. I like their message and I like their community. And this other thing is just like an affiliate thing. So I joined forces. I was with them for a year and a half. I started eventually making a good 5 figures a month. Most money I've ever made, because when I had a job, I only made 18 to 20K a year if I was lucky.
Right.
And I had this company where I thought I was rich. I was eventually within 6 to 8 months making 8, 10, 12K a month. And felt like I was on top of the world, man.
Well, and it's all relative as you evolve, from somebody who's homeless at 17, right? Yeah. And then is getting ready to have a child and gets freaked out. It's like, how am I going to put food on the table? And I'm going to make 18, 20 grand a year to making 6 figures, right? That is rich. In your mind, when you're in that mindset, relative, that's what happens. Like I was talking about this recently with a friend, like they're like, what's it like doing this, do this? I said, well, dude, you always stay in the moment. Like, I remember when I built my first house, it was like, 100 grand. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And then the next house, like 400 grand. I'm like, whoa, and the list goes on. And it's so exciting because you're taking the stairs and you're hitting the next flight. You're getting to the next stop. So go ahead. I just want to reiterate that.
No, of course. And that makes perfect sense because through my 9.5 years of entrepreneurship now, it's always been levels to every single thing. What used to feel expensive now comes cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things that I used to look at like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do that. And stuff like, I can do that now. That's easy. You know what I mean? To me, it was all about chasing the freedom, though. The money, the toys, and the stuff, those are nice to have. But I enjoy the fact that I don't have to wake up, at 6 in the morning or 7 unless I got to take my kids to school or something like that, which is obviously a different kind of level of, I got to get up to get ready for school. So I did that for a little while. The multi-level marketing company switched. And eventually, they switched things up. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I sat on the money that I was starting to make from the company for probably 6 months. I was very frugal. I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But, I'm actually sitting on some decent money right now. And I ran into drop shipping. So, and this was back in 2014.
You're going to have to explain drop shipping because I just learned.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow. Okay, go ahead.
So drop shipping essentially, and this was, you could do it on eBay, Amazon. I bought something on eBay. It was like a couple $100. Came from like Target for like $100 less. I reached out to the seller on eBay and I was like, oh, this is interesting. You're a true capitalist because I don't know what you just did, but you clearly made some profit, which is cool. And I didn't ask him to break anything down or teach me. Or maybe I did and he just didn't want to. But he's like, it's drop shipping. Essentially, I sold it to you. Do you still leave me I think I left him still a 5-star review because I was like, I didn't search around, so that's my fault. Anyways, basically, drop shipping essentially is where you sell products on a marketplace at a higher cost. Or when somebody buys it from your store, whether it's Shopify, eBay, Etsy, Amazon, that you go back and buy it directly, usually from another retailer or from a supplier at a cheaper cost, and you ship it directly to the customer that purchased the product on your storefront.
Right.
So basically, you don't have any inventory. You don't have to pre-purchase any inventory, pre-purchase any products. A lot of people are familiar with the whole, I'm going to buy from Alibaba or China at a low cost and then sit on and sell it for a higher cost. The problem with that is that you're sometimes sitting on inventory, and if it doesn't sell within a certain time, you're probably going to liquidate the products that you have or sell them at just a breaking even point just so that you can kind of get rid of them.
Right.
So drop shipping is where if you don't have to pre-purchase any inventory, you don't really have any risk by doing that.
Well, think about if you only raised $1 on every item and you just sold 1 million of them, you still made $1 million.
Exactly.
Right. It's all scaling.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I initially realized, okay, I want to do what this guy just did. I started a little bit on eBay for a few months and I realized, and I was making some money. Of course, I had to go through trial and error. It wasn't something I just picked up overnight, but I had to learn the in and outs of how eBay worked, how I could do this. And, I put the pieces together pretty quickly. I read a couple PDFs. I kind of Googled a couple things. Those gave me some more ideas. After doing it for eBay for a few months, I was like, you know what? You look at the traffic on eBay and you look at the traffic on Amazon, it's a day and night difference. And I was like, let me take what I'm learning over here and apply it to Amazon. So I took those talents to Amazon, and I have to tell you, I did that for about a year. Every day I wanted to break the computer. It was tired. It was exhausting. I was making money. There was a lot of days where I was making money, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 a day in profit, and I was excited about that. The problem was Amazon just always switched things up, added new things, added this policy, added this, and it was like, can you give us a break?
Right,
You guys are catering more to the customers on Amazon than you are the sellers. That's making you guys a lot of money as well. So it was a good year. After about a year, I had a couple of my own stores running. I hired a team overseas, and basically I went to a site called Freelancers, and I went to a site to try to hire some people. I went through about 20-something people within months that were either bad workers, weren't showing up, weren't doing the job, and I went through 20-something people to try to find somebody that can help me and manage my stores because I wanted to focus on other things. Right? I don't have time to process 100 orders a day, 200 orders, 300 orders, and the returns and the inquiries on Amazon. I don't have time for that. Like, I'm trying to do other things and scale. So little did you know, once my store started getting running and it was becoming pretty profitable, I started showing my screenshots on Facebook. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. If you guys I've been quiet for the last year and some change. At that time, I built a reputation from that MLM company that I had. I said, look, I'm not teaching this. I'm just showing you guys what I am doing so that maybe you guys can look into doing it yourself. A few more times I showed it, and I had so many people knocking at my door like, bro, I will give you X, Y, and Z to train me. And then I started thinking, I'm like, well, this is like a second stream of income. I want to help people. Why not? So eventually I opened the doors. I started coaching people one-on-one how to do Amazon dropshipping. And little did you know, a lot of people signed up. A lot of people learned how to do it. But there's a lot of people that learned how to do it that also didn't take action. They just got the knowledge and they went about their life. It's like, I don't know why you paid me if you weren't going to do the work. But that's not my concern. You know, that's up to you. You're
paying for your time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You got to have the ambition to do it. So I did that for about 2.5 years. We're talking about to 2017 now. And I wanted to stop coaching. I was like, this is kind of exhausting. I'm honestly tired of it. The money's nice. Helping people's nice. The people's lives that are getting changed is really, great as well. And obviously, that's like the main determining factor. But I was like, what if there's a way that I can automate this? Now, this time I had 4 or 5 stores running for myself. So I'm making passive income regardless on Amazon because of my,
Explain to the listeners and viewers, passive income.
Passive income means that you're able to make money without having to do any of the legwork.
Bam. They need to hear that, right? That's important. Some
Correct.
listeners don't know that. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. And people have to understand passive is also like when you pay your electric bill or when you pay your phone bill. Those big companies are getting a passive income from you every single month off a one-time agreement, one-time purchase. So if you're going to pay bills and that's going to be passive for them, why not have passive income for yourself?
Right.
Right? So eventually I was going to get into real estate then. And I was like, well, there's a thing called property management. And property management is where, if you have an apartment complex, a villa, you have everyone else handle the legwork for your apartment complex, your villa, whatever it is that you want. So you don't have to do any work. So it's still passive for you. So I took that same knowledge and I applied it for my Amazon dropshipping stores. Now I knew I had my own stores passive. How can I make this passive and automated for people who might potentially want to pay me? So I put some systems in play with my VAs back then. I was like, why don't we automate this? Whatever we're doing for myself, what if we just somehow figure this out? And we did. It was actually really quick and really easy to kind of streamline certain things.
Because you just scaled a lot of it is all you did. Gave them the knowledge.
That's it. Real simple. So in 2017, I took on some of my students. I said, we're going to do a test run. So for about 6 to 8 months, I did maybe about 5, 10, 15 stores of my students, and I was creating them passive income. We obviously had to put out certain guidelines, certain profit shares. It wasn't until 2018 that I went public with Amazon Automation Empire as my company, my brand, and everything that we do. And now today, you're talking about we're going into 2022, and we have over 1,200 clients. And it's been unreal to see like how much we've grown. We've definitely gone through some bumps and bruises. I mean, that's without a doubt.
Right.
We've gone through some stuff that I'm like, damn, I could have did this better. That could have been better. I've had, I've had some disgruntled clients years and years ago that were like, this needs to be better. And obviously I've learned from a lot of things and made the company better, made the services better, to the point where I got rid of VAs. I've got my own employees in, Bogota, Colombia.
Was there any time, Tommy, that you felt like your back was against the wall running the company, where it was like, oh shit, this is getting really bad. Maybe I bit more than I can chew.
Yes.
Talk about having to overcome some of those struggles while running a company. Because what happens a lot is people will hear this and they'll be like, you know what? I'm going to do this, and maybe they're going to call you and they want to in, or they're going to go do their own thing, which is what we encourage people to do. Listen to the show all the time. Is look, create your own map, make your own map, and start your journey.
Yes.
The problem is they get a little bit in there and it gets a little tough, like you mentioned, and then they quit.
Yeah.
What struggles did you have, and what did you do to get through it?
So in 2019, I had a lady that was working for me. And now because of the way my business model is set up, that clients, should I say, have to pay a certain bill every month, basically like a profit sharing, should I say. So if they make a certain amount, they have to pay a certain amount. The lady that was working for me, I had to use her as an outlet to collect some of the payments. And I ended up finding out, especially maybe like a year later, that this lady was taking money off the books from the clients that she was supposed to pay me and keeping a lot of it for herself, knowing I wasn't double checking. So she was stealing behind my back, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. I eventually found out. I eventually fired this lady, and it was really frustrating. And then on top of that, she lied about hiring another person to help with emails, with support, which was causing some of my clients to not get responses within a week, 2 weeks. So I understand some of my clients' frustration back in the day that I was dealing with, like, damn, like, this sucks. Like, I think a lot of people thought I was going to fold it up like a cheap tent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was really frustrating because I kind of wanted to. I was like, this is getting overwhelming. So I eventually reached out one last step. I had a buddy that told me about some lady who's now my actually CEO, to reach out to her for some consultant because she's really good. She's built a lot of big, 8, 9-figure businesses. And where you're at, you need help. Like, reach out to advice before you close shop, if anything. So I did. This lady, within 90 days, already started evaluating the company, making it better, changing things, bringing in staff, making everything run more smoothly. And eventually, I bought her out of her consultant agreement, and she became my CEO, even actually earlier of this year.
How important is it to have humility, to know that you're great at some things, but you don't need to be great at everything, and to be able to ask for help or to bring someone on?
Yeah.
Sounds like there was a game changer.
Yeah, I think what happens with a lot of people is the ego gets in the way. And what I always tell people, your ego is not your amigo, right?
Yeah, I like that.
So it's not, and you have to understand, like, it's okay to not know everything. And you have to hire people who might know different areas or different fields that you don't know. And for me, it was almost, I almost didn't want to ask for help because for a while I felt like I had it under control.
Right.
But behind the scenes, it wasn't entirely great. You know, people saw me out there buying Rolls Royces and doing this and that. And it's like, but in reality, it was like I was struggling mentally because I was like, I'm stressed. Like things are gonna go bad. Hell, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Even back then, I had like 7-8 people wanting to sue me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't happen, but because I ended up resolving it with them, and you know, these are the same people that have now hit me back and seen what my company's doing and wanting back in. It's like, nah, you weren't patient enough to understand. Like, yes, I was going through a growth phase, growing pains, and you know, my business and my company has gotten better. It's not a perfect business model, but it's a business model that works. If someone's looking for perfection, they're never going to find it in any product or service.
Right.
We can just do everything that we can with what we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's important. You talked about ego is not your amigo. That's cute. I like that. I'm gonna steal that sometimes because that's slick.
You'll see it on your Instagram.
Yeah. Ego is not your amigo, dude. Back off. But it's important that people understand you don't need to be great at everything.
Yeah,
right. I didn't know what EBITDA was a couple of years ago. I talk about it openly. I talk about it in the book. I talk about it in the podcast. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And what's important is for me as an entrepreneur, and for you as an entrepreneur, to really figure out what you're great at, maximize that, monetize that, and then treat your business like a puzzle and bring in the other pieces where people bring value, where you guys are all rowing the same way for the same common goal.
Absolutely.
And you did that with this lady.
Yes. And not only that, then I brought in my sales team that handles my calls.
Yep.
They send out the legal contracts to potential clients so they can review it. And like everything is now officially like in-house. My office is my office. It's not it's not a manager, so nothing like that. When I had VAs, like I actually own the building. My employees, they wear my shirts with my brand. I got my own waterfall in there, the rug, the mats, everything like that. So what this company is today is what it should have been years ago.
Right.
And I regret that. But at the same time, I had to learn it maybe a certain way, and maybe I had to learn it this way. And I think everything happens for a reason. You know, you don't
makes you stronger, dude.
Yeah.
You learned from failures and struggles.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people are scared to run towards that failure. But if you're not okay with failure, you don't deserve to be successful.
I agree. And everyone thinks it's so easy. They don't know what's going on upstairs. Yeah. You talked about it. You're like, look, up here I was struggling. And you're in social media, which is always bullshit. People are like, look at my best life on social media. We're all guilty of it, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That's what we do. People want to see that. They don't want to see like, hey, I'm struggling. But we do struggle as entrepreneurs, that pressure, that stress. Like how many employees do you have?
About 125, 150.
So you have 150 lives, families that are on your mind every day you go to bed. I can relate. You know, I've got a ton of employees, and that stress is on my shoulders. And I have to go to bed knowing every decision I make affects all of those families.
Absolutely.
Same thing with you. And people don't realize is certain people are made for that and certain people aren't. That doesn't make people better than other people.
Yeah.
What it means is that's what you're intended to do. That's your strength, is to be able to manage that stress, to manage that responsibility, to be cool, calm, and collective. 3 C's there. You got to be cool, calm, and collective to get through that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people can't. They run from it. They get scared of it. They struggle. They break. They lose it. But we all are humans who have issues. Like we struggle on daily. And you said, like up here, I was struggling, and I've been there. I've been in your shoes where it's like, I start questioning, what am I doing? And why am I doing it? And I have to remind myself, and I have to look at people's faces and go, I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for our employees. Like you just have to remind yourself. And some people aren't built that way.
Yeah. The way I look at things, and, you know, from 2019 and even a little less before that, because that 2019, after about a good year-ish of like really growing, I grew really fast. So there was things that I just was unaccounted for. I didn't put systems and certain things in play. But resistance is a lot like, you know, like working out. Without that struggle, your muscles will never grow. So,
and you know, by the way,
it's just like, I had to hire a trainer to add a lot of muscle, to work out as much as I do, because if I didn't hire a trainer to put me through these workouts, as much as I would say, hey, I would do this myself, I probably would to some degree, but I would probably be texting more than anything, on the phone, not actually there getting shit done like I'm supposed to get shit done. So hiring that trainer to train with me 4 or 5 times a week, put me through these workouts, to grow these legs, to grow this body, like that's one of the best things that I've done physically for myself, just because, I mean, you know, it's helped me get like the body and going towards really what I want. It's up to me to make sure I'm eating clean and you know eating right and all that other good stuff.
Which you're guilty of cheating sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely am. You know, that 2 to 3%, a cheat meal turns into a cheat day, and that's sometimes a problem for me. Yeah. And then I got to work, you know, 10 times harder to now burn off, you know, 3,000 calories that I just consumed, you know, and it sucks. It sucks.
That same discipline you obviously run in your business as you scale and grow. What are, you're not only doing this, what other businesses are you involved in?
So over on my side of Florida, we have a couple cryotherapy places.
Which I love cryo.
Cryo is amazing.
Explain what cryo is to the people, because some people don't know what that is.
So cryotherapy is basically, it's relative. You hop in a cold chamber, you can get negative 175, 180 degrees, and it's basically to speed up your metabolism, speed up your testosterone, to help you recover, help your muscles, and to obviously help you lose weight. So it's basically like 3 minutes in that cold chamber is like, you know, 15 to 20 minutes of an ice bath. Mm-hmm. So obviously it's really great for the muscles. We do IVs as well for a bunch of the vitamins that you need, vitamin C, B12s, everything to obviously
biotin, all that good stuff.
Correct. Everything. And then like there's the
Myers cocktail. Is that what it is too?
Myers cocktail is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I actually just did it like last week. So I have a habit of not going. I used to go like every freaking 2 weeks, and now it's like once a month. So I got to get back on that because I feel really good. Like the IVs go directly to your body, where if you take pills, which all the great vitamins, you're only going to consume 60% once everything's actually broken down. Right. So getting the IVs directly into your bloodstream, it just
game changer.
You consume 100%.
People don't realize that you could get IVs for vitamins.
Yeah, and it's freaking great.
I tell people like, you ain't got an IV. I'm like, yeah.
Especially during COVID, like when everything, especially all this COVID crap, like people need that stuff more than ever. You know what I mean? Also, pretty heavy into cryptocurrency. A lot of my investments that I make with my Amazon automation business, I diversify also into crypto. I've done real estate. So I've done anything that sounds like it could obviously, you know, yield me more passive income. Right. So cryo's passive for me. My Amazon stores are passive. My Amazon automation business for like, you know, generating leads and traffic, and just really the whole model is pretty much automated because obviously I have a lot of people in play to handle the front legwork for me. And like any other entrepreneur, I'm looking to diversify as much as possible because obviously 3-4 incomes for me, it's not enough. I'm looking to be like, you know, Warren Buffett, you know, have as many income streams as possible because if something fail, I have some other ones to fall back on.
Now we met on the set of 2 Minute Drill. Or was it Office Hours?
Office Hours, yes.
We met on the set of Office Hours.
Yes.
Recently, it was a couple months ago in California. The lovely David Meltzer, my coach and friend and your friend, introduced us, and you were on the show. And that Office Hours comes out October 15th.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be epic. But, you know, people that you meet on that show and people that you meet on 2 Minute Drill, all these other entrepreneurs, they all have something in common. We were talking about in there at lunch, is they have the it factor. They have the it factor of they know what they want to do, and they know that no matter what, they're not going to quit and they're going to get there.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people have it, but they don't bet on themselves. Yeah. Right? We were talking about that. Like, scared money don't make money. Yeah. It's a chapter in my book. If you can't bet on yourself, nobody else is going to bet on you.
Oh, absolutely.
And you made the comment, you said, well, it's sad that some people will believe and bet on like you or other things than themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the world we live in. Fear is controlling people.
Absolutely.
And people are scared to bet on themselves. What would you say to that?
I would say that you need to stop trusting the boss to give you job security and just create it for yourself. Yeah. I think, you know, for me, I didn't know when I first started this journey, like I was that person that was like, okay, great. I made $100 today. That's great. But how am I going to make it tomorrow? How do I make this a consistent flow? And I just learned to apply everything that I was doing from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, day 4. It's not going to be easy in any investment or service that you get into or product or whatever it is, or people are trying to create their own franchise. This shit's hard fucking work. Yeah. Especially in the beginning. Like I tell people, if you're starting a business, don't expect anything for a couple of years in kind of a net profit. Just focus on changing people's lives, creating a good product, a good service, and eventually, as long as you keep putting your foot down, you're a prime example of that, man. Your business did, you know, certain numbers, and then it just started, you know, blowing up, you know, and you kept your foot on the gas and you didn't let go.
Yeah.
And here you
and
are.
you can't quit when it gets hard, right?
And
you take one step at a time. There's no elevator.
I think that's a problem though. People when you quit, it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to quit several times. This whole freaking journey, and it sucked. It was just shit. I think it was like 3-4 months ago. My business is going great, but I had a talk with my CEO. Like, I'm stressed today. I want to throw in the freaking towel. I just don't want to freaking deal with people anymore. I don't want to deal with this. I'm like, where's Thanos when you need one? Can he just snap away half of these people? I was just feeling like one of those moments. Eventually, I just took a day off. She's like, look, I got it. Just go do what you need to do. Turn off your phone.
We get burned out sometimes, man. We're grinding and grinding, and we get burned out. And we're human. We make mistakes.
And sometimes it's hard to live in the moment because you're so focused on your business growing, trying to scale. And I can't say for me, like, when's enough, because I'm not done reaching my full potential. I'm not done helping enough people. I'm not done changing enough lives. Like, there's so many things that I want to do. I don't think I'll ever want to really truly stop because, like, then that just means that I'm not really reaching my fullest potential. So for me, I just want to keep going, keep trying to grind. We all have those days. We all get tired. We all want to throw in the freaking towel because it seems impossible. But what I used to dream of, what kind of money that I wanted to make, I have to sometimes realize, like, you're where you used to want to be. But now that you're in that seat and you see people like yourself, like, I'm like, I got to get to my man Jayson's level. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got to get to that. So I truly believe that you just got to focus on the present, focus on what you're good at, and your time will come. I just turned 34 in August, right? So Leo gang over here, you know what I mean? And I'm proud of where I've come from. I know that I still have a long way to go. I have other friends that make higher 8-9 figures, and I'm just like, you're motivation for me. And I love seeing people hustle and win because, let's face it, there's enough money for all of us out there. There's no such thing as a shortage of money, only time.
Well, we're about to do some fire questions, but before we do, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor real quick. Today's show has been brought to you by Power Home Solar. It's time to own your power, not rent your power. Don't be left in the dark and start reducing those electricity bills. If you're looking for a career, visit powerhome.com/careers. Bam. Not a bad little gig right there, right?
I love that. Own your power, baby. Let's go.
Own your power. We're always looking to hire people, just like you're looking to have people join your business. Now, I like to end sometimes asking some fire questions real quick. People are going to ask. So they're going to be off the wall, crazy questions. But I like to have fun with it.
When you say fire question, am I like on the spot to answer it quickly?
Yes.
I hate
you can't go, let me think about that.
I know.
You got to like, bam, like just
right.
answer that
hopefully
shit.
I answer it the right way.
All right. Well, if you don't, it's okay. You know, we don't edit shit around here.
No.
It comes out, you're stuck.
Yeah,
you're stuck.
I know.
All right. Biggie or Pac?
Huh?
Biggie or Pac?
Pac.
My man. West Coast all
That's
day.
right, baby.
Racing or poker?
Racing.
You like horse racing or NASCAR?
Car.
Who's your favorite race car driver?
I thought you meant just like kind of just like racing on the street. I didn't know if you meant like that.
I just meant, yeah, that's fine. Do you watch NASCAR?
No, I do not. I don't.
You said you don't watch sports, you don't watch NASCAR.
I speed a lot in my cars, so that's what I was
it is.
thinking.
You got great cars. Okay.
Yeah.
Lambo or Ferrari?
Lambo.
Which Lambo?
I love my Urus.
I love the Urus too.
The
I have the
Urus
Urus.
is
The
great.
Urus is awesome
That's
because you can take the kids, you can do whatever, and it's a Lambo.
Exactly.
I would agree. Favorite place to vacation?
Oh, man, that's tough. Italy.
I've never been. You been to Turks and Caicos?
I was just there about 7-8 months ago.
It's my favorite though.
It was great.
But I've never been to Europe. Wife doesn't want to get on a plane long, so
Italy was great.
Greece? Did you ever go to Greece?
Greece, I've been there as well. Santorini. I went to Zakynthos. I forget how to say it. It's like with the pirate ship with the mountain. I don't know if you've been there, but that was great as well. It's
one superhero ability that you would want.
Oh God. Oh man. Teleport.
Teleport. Explain.
Just because the fact is I do love to travel, and sometimes I just, to go to Europe, hey, I'm there, boom, I'm in Europe, boom.
That's legit. I like that. I mean? That's legit.
Yeah.
Do you watch superhero movies or anything?
I love them.
Who's Marvel your favorite superhero?
God, man, that's tough. I don't know. Damn, on the spot. I don't know. Let's say Thor or something like that.
You like Thor?
I like Thor.
I like Captain America because he's the leader.
Yeah, I love him too.
And
There's
I love
so many.
Hulk.
Yeah.
Who wins, Superman or Hulk?
Superman.
Yeah. Why does he win?
The Hulk just got beat from Thanos, so I think Superman might be.
Superman's a bad dude, man. Yeah. He's a bad dude. Star Wars or Harry Potter?
Oh God, neither.
Yeah, bam! I'm like that.
Neither.
I used to say there's dudes that date chicks and there's dudes that watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
I tried because I like movies with magic, But it was all the Harry Potter movies were a snooze for me. I'm like, I can't get into
You ever
this.
go to Universal Studios?
Yeah.
So I can't even go to that side of the park because it smells like farts.
Yeah.
I'm like, these people stink. And no offense, like if you like it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like, it's just gross. Even my kids are like, Dad, it smells like farts over here. I'm like, I know.
I've never even tried to watch Star Wars, to be honest with you. Never
Yeah,
tried it.
I watched it as a kid, but I don't really remember it.
Yeah.
And I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably watch Star Wars before Harry Potter, but that's me.
Those movies look those movies look like something that I wouldn't enjoy, but others might.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Do you watch UFC or boxing?
UFC. I like boxing too, but I would if they were
you had
both
to pick
on,
one.
yeah, I would.
Who's your favorite UFC fighter?
Oh, I have no idea. No idea.
No idea. You just like watching him kick ass?
Yeah. I mean, Anderson Silva's really nice. Nate Diaz. I like Nate Diaz as well. But it's not something I religiously watch. I would like to say Conor was great at one point, but I think he got really complacent.
His mouth got too big too.
Yeah, and I think he made so much money that he stopped training as hard to get to the top, so he got complacent. And I think that even happens in business, that people stop making a lot of money, that they stopped working so hard to be able to get to the top, and that forces some people to lose it all.
So I'm glad you said that. So what are you chasing now? Because you're doing very well, and you said you like to surround yourself with people you can look up to and want to. I do the same thing. I love to hang out with people that I could say, hey, I want to get to that next level, because I envy in a good way, not envy in a bad way.
Yeah, of course.
Never a jealous hater. I'm always like, man, how do I get to that level? And it encourages me because I chase winning and I chase change in the world. But everybody has to chase something. And my therapist told me a long time ago, everybody should have a therapist, by the way. She said, you know, the more you get, the more successful you are, the more money you make, the bigger you become, the more depressed you become, because there's less to chase. Now, I've never really chased items, but I can totally relate, because things that would excite us about, ooh, I get this house, or, oh, I get this car I've always wanted. Once you get it, then what? What do you do to combat that? So
for me, one of the biggest things that I chase is the continuous, constant freedom. I also like changing lives. That's to be able to, like, obviously I was just in Colombia, and I was telling you, I bought my manager a car. You know, it was very expensive. His dream car was like a BMW, and over there it's hard to, you know, get cars, right? And vehicles, a little high luxury vehicles. This was his dream car, and his wife started crying. He was getting emotional because this guy was taking a train an hour and 20, hour and 30 one way, never mind back, spending hours a day away from his kids, his family. And I was just sick of that. I was like, I was going to wait till Christmas, but the way this guy works and his motivation, his drive, and his leadership abilities, you deserve this now. And he was in so much shock. And even now, he still thanks me and hits me like, dude, I still love driving this. My favorite part of this car, bro, is the sunroof and this and that. And that to me is great. I have the cars. I have the house. And like you said, like, once you get those things, like, yeah, they're still nice to have. I'd rather drive, you know, in my Lambo than one of my old 1995 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme cars, or whatever the case was.
Cutlass Supreme, I remember those.
That was my first car, like, way back in the day.
Oh, I love it.
And those things are great, but I do like it, make an impact. I like, you know, chasing the freedom. The fact is that if you had it all figured out today, what would be the point of tomorrow?
True.
You know what I mean? So to me, I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm happy I don't have it all figured out. I'm happy that there's constant growth, you know, availability, constant changes in my business that gives us challenges to overcome. Because again, if we had it all figured out, I don't know what the hell I would do. Like if someone's like, hey, here's $20 billion. Yeah, that's great. But what would I do? I mean, yeah, I could travel the world for a little while. Yeah, absolutely.
We have to be challenged.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm a sick fuck. I like to lose sometimes.
Yeah.
People are like, why? I'm like, because then it makes me better.
Yeah.
I love winning.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to lose and fall. Otherwise, you get complacent.
Yeah. And you don't want to get complacent.
Ever.
Man.
You just don't.
It's been you know, for me, it's been one hell of a freaking journey, man. It's, you know, I can take away from anybody that's listening to this, you know, podcast. Like, you just have to learn how to, whatever it is that you're doing. I think this is like my biggest, like, you know, if you want to call it a takeaway or whatnot. I don't know if you have any more questions, but you have to learn how to be consistent, right? If you're not consistent and you're not persistent, then you're non-existent.
No, I like that.
You know what I mean? You have to learn how to be consistent, whether it's working out, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's business. And the problem is a lot of people aren't consistent. Like, oh, I tried to make money for 3 days and that shit just doesn't work. Bro, you tried it for 3 days. Of course it's not going to freaking work. You know, give yourself 1 or 2 years of dedicated hard as hell towards your body, towards your goals, to your relationship, whether it's, you know what I mean? I've had it, like you said, a therapy. I've had to go to therapy because I've had to get out some bullshit demons to learn, should I say, to learn how to live above my own demons on certain levels of my life or for my relationships to make me a better person overall, you know what I mean? And try to make sure that I'm the best version of myself for my kids, for my girlfriend, for, just everything that I'm trying to do in life. Because, at the end of the day, nobody wants to strangle with those demons, man. Just learn to live above them.
I love that. So how can everybody find you? We're going to have the links on the bottom, but we'll give a shout out where they can find you at.
My most popular, social media is down right now, but by the time you guys watch this, it'll probably be live. But T-Rod on the gram, T-R-O-D. A lot of people actually pronounce it Trod. I have no idea why, but it's T-Rod. And, feel free to check it out. My thought process of just leaving you with this, I'm not here to sell what I do. I do multiple things. I like to give value. So anyone that's listening, whether you get value from my posts, whether you get motivated or inspired by my stories, hey, that's all I can ask for. And, if any kind of advice gives you guys or anything on my Instagram or my social media kind of helps you elevate in life, if it changes your perspective and you just went out there and now crush it in your business or your relationship, man, that makes me feel good just within itself, just to be honest with you.
Bam, I love that, dude. Thanks for sharing. And hey, that's a wrap here on the True Underdog Podcast. Bam!
Bam, let's go, baby.
And that concludes another episode here on True Underdog. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube channel. You can always visit TrueUnderdog.com, subscribe to all of them. Make sure you check out our newest episodes coming out on Mondays and Thursdays. True Underdog, baby. Bam!